welcome back to Skynyrd Shorts here on YouTube, our favorite YouTube channel, right? Today's a very special episode because it's number...
This better be the king of all episodes. It's number 43.
43. What's a 43 number can you think of?
It's the king, baby. It's Richard Petty. It's Petty Enterprises. It's what I live for. And the 43 is my favorite number.
Now, are we saying that 43 is a Southern number? Richard Petty's a Southern guy?
Oh my God, is he not? Come on.
I don't know.
Richard Petty started in Daytona. The Pettys came from Daytona. It seems like North Carolina. They were North Carolina, but they started in Daytona. They started the evolution of NASCAR.
Okay, I'll buy that. That's probably the best 43 we can come up with. Right?
It's my 43, I'll tell you that.
So before we get started, I'd like to thank Kent for jumping on episode 41 with us, which was absolutely amazing.
Can't say it enough. Can't say it enough.
I mean, his insights and his stories about live interactions with the band is just, trust me, there's going to be many more of those coming up. So please hit subscribe and let your friends subscribe and jump in on this because it's going to get bigger and better, right? It's going to be fantastic.
You learn a lot of things we didn't know, that's for sure.
That's right. So the title of today's episode, number 43, the big one, is Ronnie Van Zant Message Songs. All right? Because all of us throughout this whole thing have talked about the lessons that we learned as young kids growing up, from Ronnie Van Zant. I mean, rock and roll means well, but it can't help telling young boys lies. That's a Drive-By Truckers quote. And that's because rock and roll is traditionally all about girls and sex. And you can argue them if you want, but I'm telling you that when Paul McCartney and John Lennon saw Elvis Presley on television, they weren't thinking about the guitar or the music. They were thinking about all the screaming girls, right? No, be honest about it.
His moves had the girls turned on.
Be honest about it. It's all about the girls. And so everybody who ever picked up a guitar, I'm sure there's an exception, was thinking about the girls. We were all goobs or dweebs or whatever, but you get the guitar in your hand, suddenly you're cool, right? It happened to me. I mean, it's just true. So it's all about sex, right?
And girls. It's just girls. I think it's all girls. Maybe not sex, but, it's all together. But you got a guitar on, it just kind of brings the girls to you.
I think it's about sex. But anyway, so that is the norm for rock and roll. I mean, you look at every rock and roll record, and it's all about that. Every now and then there's something about a fight or, I don't know, racing or something. But normally it's about girls, right? And except for one band. One band can I think of that had a ton of message songs. And that's Lynyrd Skynyrd. And that's Ronnie Van Zant. And if you look through all their songs, it's not very many songs about just actual sex. Maybe what's your name, maybe, they're singing about feelings like I need you, right? I never dreamed about feelings. It's not about just, it's not like Panama. It's what was that line he said? Put my hand down between my legs.
Ease the seat back.
Whatever, but Ronnie Van Zant was a different kind of dude, right? He had a heart. He was smart. He created stuff, and he was the guy in the band that everybody else looked up to. He was the leader of the band. And he was the role model and the, the guru for all these guys.
If you needed advice, who'd you look up to? Who did you ask?
Right.
Ronnie.
Right. He told Carlisi, go back to school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just some really, really cool things. And if I challenge you guys to think of one band that has more message songs. Think about the Rolling Stones, 58 records. AC/DC, 20 records.
Oh, we know AC/DC. We know what their songs are. They're all the same. They're all about sex.
That's why we love them, though. That's why we love them. But again, no message songs. I mean, the Cars had a song called Drive, which was such a horrible song. I think it was about drunk driving. I really don't know. I turned it off every time it came on. It was so awful. But can you think of something? Sing a message song. I mean, there were a couple guys in the early 80s who sang anti-nuclear energy songs. Springsteen had one. Jackson Brown had one. I don't really know.
Are they everyday messages?
That was political.
To you and I?
Yeah, that was political. I just trying to think of a song. I mean, even...
Well, if you're in England, you're smoking senior service cigarettes.
Now, that's really obscure. That's the Elvis Costello reference.
That's Elvis Costello, and they were slow death. I mean, they were poison cigarettes, and we hear Ronnie talk about poison whiskey. So he's letting you know this is not a good thing.
So we've thought of one. I mean, it's really unusual. So let's talk about Ronnie Van Zant. He's a guru for the band. He's a guru for you and me. He's a guru for Kent. The first message song that I really see from him is on the very first record, right? What was it?
Poison Whiskey.
And Poison Whiskey is a song that actually, Ed and Ronnie wrote that song.
That's true.
What's the message here? It's, take a tip from me, don't drink poison whiskey. The beginning of the song, he relates it to Satan, getting in the drink. And it's like you said with senior service, it's a slow death.
It's a slow death, and it leads you down some dark roads.
20 years drinking leads you to death, right? It's what the doctor said. And
especially Johnny Walker Red.
Did you ever drink Johnny Walker Red?
No.
I never drank Johnny Walker Red.
I'm sure it was illegal in our parts.
No, I don't. Well, everything was illegal because we had to go these weird places out in the woods to buy it. But anyway, that's a message. And I heard it. I'm, 12 or 14 or whatever. Well, listen, I heard that, right? And I was I'm drinking beer, right? Because I don't know. I was never, at that time, a liquor drinker. So also on the first record, there's one called Things Going On, right? And that song is more of it's not really a political statement.
It dips into that universe, I think.
What do you say? They're going to ruin the air we breathe. I think they're all just up there getting high. I mean, right away, Ronnie is speaking to more than just sex.
But all the politicians looking out for us, looking out for the country boys, looking out for the hunters and fishermen, they're not thinking about us. They're thinking about concrete and moving industrial things in our face.
In fact, on the first record, there's two songs about girls, I guess, like Free Bird and Tuesday's Gone, where he's actually leaving, right? It's not about staying, it's about leaving. Because Ronnie's kind of a traveling man, which is another very biographical kind of song. Okay, let's go to the second record. Second Helping, oddly named. And what's the message song on Second Helping?
Has it, what's on there? Needle and Spoon?
Needle and the Spoon.
Yeah.
One of the best riffs, one of the best guitar riffs. It's an Alan Collins brilliant guitar riff. I mean, it's a beautiful song. And in fact, my oldest daughter, that was her favorite karaoke song. We'd be somewhere and they'd say, karaoke, what do you want to do? And she'd go, Needle and the Spoon. They go, what the hell is that? Right? But it's just a great song. And when you listen to it, you also realize what he's talking about.
You talk about a message. And a message that I think affected everybody who heard it as kids, as adults. You don't mess with the needle. You don't mess with the spoon. They're going to hurt you.
Don't mess with the needle.
They're bad news.
I know.
They're bad news.
I know. I mean, it's just so crystal clear. In fact, when I first heard it, I didn't know what the needle and the spoon was. But later in life, when I saw it, I thought, that's probably not a good idea, right? I mean, very, very clear. I mean, also on that same record was the song we talked about previously, Sweet Home Alabama. It's kind of political, but it's also kind of talking about, there's a lot of good people down here. So he's defending us. Again, this is not a song about girls. And if you go through there, now you made the point earlier when you talked about this episode about blues, right? There's a lot of bluesy stuff. Now his song's called like Same Old Blues, but there's a lot of songs in there. I Need You is kind of bluesy. That's really talking about love, which isn't really sex.
Well, love and blues kind of go together sometimes.
I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, how they did these things. I don't know. Needle and Spoon, got to be a top 5 song for anybody.
I think you hear this song and it just sticks with you. You do not forget the message on this song.
Yeah. I meant to pull out the records when we're talking about it. But then on this record, Nothing Fancy. What's the message song here, Joe?
What's the next one?
I'm not gonna cheat for you. It's Saturday Night Special.
Oh, that's on there.
Yeah. I mean,
guns. We know. Listen, lately guns are all about in the news. And you know, when I went to school, my friends had pickup trucks. And they had a rifle hanging in the back window. You know, but they didn't go into class with them. They didn't take them in school. They were thinking about going home and hunting. You know, it was hunting season. Well, today, we got these kids just taking guns to school and killing their friends.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get it.
I don't want to get real political about it, but
it's not. I don't know what it is.
I don't know anybody who thinks it's a good idea. You know, one wonders how our society got to this point. You know, where people don't value life. You know, Ronnie did value life, and he lived it to its fullest, right? And he wanted, even though he said he wouldn't make it to 30, he wanted to live his life. He had future plans, you know. But certainly in Saturday Night Special, it said, ain't good for nothing but put a man 6 feet in a hole. I mean, if that's...
It's still true today.
How could it be more plain than that?
Still true today. It'll ring true forever. As long as there's guns, this song is always going to have a part of it.
Yeah, and I'm not anti-gun. I mean, you know, we got guns right here. But I think that, you know, I'm very careful with how I store them and what they're used for and the message that I've always sent my kids and whatnot. Like, you know, I took my daughters dove hunting. You know, we know how to shoot a shotgun. And my youngest daughter, we go to the gun range and shoot the pistols, right? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, ain't good for nothing but put a man 6 feet in a hole. Also on that same record is Am I Losing? That's one that Gary and Ronnie wrote together. If there's ever a tearjerker of a message, it's talking about friends. And Ronnie valued his friends like nobody else, right? I mean, why won't my friend take me as I am? He's talking about the changes when Ronnie's more popular or more famous. And he just wants something about fishing, like Don't Ask Me No Questions, you know? But he feels like he's losing friends. And so maybe the trade of fame and fortune might not be worth it because the value of friendship is so high to Ronnie, which I just think is, wow.
Can you imagine the delicate balance there is, you know, becoming famous and, you know, getting pulled away from your friends or getting taken away from your friends because you're so busy?
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but
I don't want to know.
But I'm friends with a lot of folks who are pretty famous, and you know, I kind of see how they deal with it, and it's a challenge sometimes. It is a challenge, so I kind of get that. But that's right there on the third record, and of course then we come to really the most underrated record of all time, and I just think that this record is, I love it. I love this record. And it's got, to me, my favorite message song, period. And that's Every Mother's Son. I mean, what can you say about it? Another Alan Collins brilliant song.
It touches you deep. I mean, it does. It just touches you. If you're a parent, you know, and you lose... They always say a parent losing a child is the hardest thing to deal with. But is he talking about losing a child to death or to disappearing, to go out and doing this thing and not being a part of the family?
I don't know. I mean, the lyrics are more like, you're going to be on the mountain for a while, but you're also going to be down. You know, what's, again, a Drive-By Truckers reference. Life is a blending of the ups and downs. And I think that's what he's saying is just because you're up here today, man, you better appreciate it and not take it for granted because you could very well be here tomorrow, you know. And I think that's really what it's all about. You know, it just, what is it? Rise and fall.
Rise and fall someday.
I mean, it's, I don't know, it's a great song. Everything about it, again, probably one of my top 5 songs. And because it is kind of spine tingling. right?
Oh, it just hits you right, right where you don't want to be hit. It just dives right into your soul.
It's on every playlist I have.
It's very good.
And I bad as I sing it loud in the car, right? Because it's just, I don't know. But the message is there, right? He is telling folks, value your friends. It's Ronnie. Ronnie's he's not a complicated dude, but he's got heart to go along with his brain. And I don't know, he's such a leader and he's a guru, right? The Beatles went to India to find the Maharaji. They could have went to Jacksonville and found Ronnie Van Zant. So just an amazing guy. I don't know what else I can tell you about that. It's just fantastic. Of course, then, there's this record. There's our band. There's our guys right there, right? I mean, just a fantastic record. And unfortunately, it was the forebearer of greatness to come. Everything about this record, and we'll talk about the record itself more in detail. But Joe, tell us about the message song here.
That Smell is the song that just relates, to what was going on with the band and his friends around him. He saw what was going on with the drugs and the drinking and, plane crashes and car crashes and, everything that was happening at that time. He was letting them know.
And the dual guitar lead at the end is absolutely fantastic when they're going, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. It's just beautiful. My favorite part of the song. I mean, it's just so well done. Of course, they have, I don't know, that's just a great record in itself. But in that one song, which is written by Alan and Ronnie, of course, that we talk about whiskey, we mention coke, we mention heroin, we mention pot, we mention fast cars, quaaludes, and the biggest thing of all is at the end, monkey on your back. The addiction, which is really, once that addiction hits you, you're heading the wrong direction, I mean, ask Keith Richards about addiction. A dude went back and forth 1 billion times on that stuff. But Ronnie's just telling us right here, you're just a fool. Just a fool. Just a fool. And I don't know. The first time I heard it, it took me a second to figure out exactly what the lyrics were to a couple of them, but once I did, because that song came out actually this summer before the album's released. We had those album tracks that were playing on WKR FM 104. And it was, I'm pretty sure it was That Smell and What's Your Name was released early. So I'd heard it for a couple months. It wasn't like, I heard it and then they crashed the plane a couple days later. It was out for a while. And it was great. I mean, that whole, I don't know, then the album came out and we realized it was 8 great songs, not just a couple. But again, the message is very, very clear. This related directly to, who hit the tree with a car? Was that Gary?
Gary Rossington, a Quaalude.
Oak tree?
He hit an oak tree. And, I've never done a Quaalude. That's not even something a popular drug anymore, is it? Well, what good is it?
Well, in those days, I mean, I don't know either, except all the guys I ran with, there was Mandrex, Quaaludes, and was it 666 or 888? I think it might have all been the same thing. Some of you guys might have been a little deeper into drugs than I was. I mean,
what's he saying? He's telling his friends, get away from this, man. This is not good. This is not going to end good. You can stop this. You can quit this. Straighten up. Get away from these friends who are leading you down the wrong path.
And Ronnie knew where they were headed. And he knew also that they listened to him.
And they didn't listen enough. Truly, they didn't. I mean, I don't know that they gave him the credit for being the guru that he was. I'm letting you know here in my own way, how much I believe in you and how much I love you. Quit this stuff.
So I'm going to ask y'all a question, and this is a legend, because I don't know for sure, but I read or heard somewhere 30 years ago that Street Survivors was the first studio record that Ronnie ever recorded sober. True? I don't know.
See, I think he was looking the other way. He was trying to get there. Maybe he was trying to get there. He's got some children. He's thinking about life. He's thinking about the advice he's given. He wants to live his advice. He wants to move on. He wants his friends to live with him.
I'd like to know if that's true, because it's very, very interesting. Because Ronnie, as the next episode we're going to talk about, he was thinking ahead. So.
And you know where the plane stopped? The plane ended up crashing into
an oak tree?
An oak tree. Weird, weird, weird.
But there were no flames.
No flames.
No flames. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that little detail. But
talk to me about details.
You crash in the South, you're going to have a hard time missing an oak tree.
Well, they were in a swamp, and it was just full of trees. So
yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. Again, these songs all give me kind of the goosebumps when I hear them, when I listen to them, when I think about them. And when we talk about lessons and looking up to Ronnie as our, life leader, he's still having that effect on people. And because us and you continue to spread the music, and the band Lynyrd Skynyrd tribute, people continue to hear these songs.
These songs have a real effect on me. And just thinking about the sounds, I'm thinking about all the songs all balled up together.
Yeah,
such a good sound.
So y'all find me another band who has as many message songs as Ronnie Van Zant. Find them. I dare you, because it ain't gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. That's another reason why Ronnie Van Zant, Lynyrd Skynyrd will live on forever, because the message rings true. Of course, Van Halen probably will too, because of sex, but whatever.
AC/DC.
AC/DC, yeah. I love AC/DC. Sin City's my favorite. It doesn't matter. All right. Anything else on this episode, Joe?
I think we've done pretty well. Just get in the flow of some really good sounds and some really good messages.
Yeah, let's shut down episode 43, and we'll come back soon with a really cool episode. So don't forget to subscribe. Share it with your friends. Please share it with your friends. Let's make this thing bigger and better, and we're going to have some more special guests join us before you know it. So anything else, Joe?
Thank you so much.
So till next time here on Skynyrd Shorts, our favorite YouTube channel, we'll see you back again.